Plaintiff Ebony Hollis dated the defendant's son for a couple of weeks when she was 15 years old. And soon after, she started dating another man and got pregnant. Ebony now believes the defendant's son, who is deceased, may be her son's father. So she petitioned the court for a DNA test. Defendant Jacqueline Smith says when Ebony first got pregnant, both Ebony and her son insisted he was not the child's father. However, Jacqueline now hopes the DNA test will prove that he is her grandson, and they can get to know each other.
Let's start with you, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor. I came today with my 14-year-old son, Montan, because we were trying to get DNA established. When I was 15 years old, I lived in the same neighborhood as Miss Jackie, and I did date her son for a couple weeks. Shortly after that, I had a new boyfriend, and I became pregnant. I did assume that my boyfriend at the time was my kid's father. And when he got incarcerated about 7 years after that, that's when we took a DNA test through child support, and they ended up telling us that it was negative. He was not the father. Through that time, we had agreed to continue.
What year was that?
That was 2008 or 9.
Okay.
And through that time, we had agreed that we were just going to keep everything as it was, because that's the only father he knew. Mm-hmm. As time began, he did get some time, and I decided to go through and tell my son the truth. It was eating me up, and that's when I had started to look for Miss Jackie. I did find out from the neighborhood that her house had caught on fire, so I had assumed she had moved, and I didn't really push forward no more to look for her. Through the time, about January of this year, I was speaking with my the guy that was my boyfriend at the time, and we do have a child together, so my child's father, and he told me he was locked up, incarcerated with her other son, Jamar. I asked to speak to Jamar, which he then gave him my phone number, and Jamar had reached out to me. And when I spoke to Jamar, I was upfront with him, and I told him that it may be a possibility that Jovan, which is the other brother, could be my son's father, and I've been looking for his mother. So he then gave me Miss Jackie's phone number, and I reached out to her. Miss Jackie has been positive the whole time. She did not give me no negative feedback or anything like that, which I then have found out that Jovan is deceased now. Mm. During the time of knowing that he's been deceased, which the story that I found out was that they had an unexpected visitor come to the home, and by them having an unexpected visitor, they went and grabbed their weapons. And when Jovan went down the steps first, Jamar went behind him, and the firearm went off. And he's now deceased. And throughout this time, I've been trying so hard, Your Honor, of going to the counties to try to get DNA test results, and neither one of our counties in our local cities wanted to do it. I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. And of course, she's residing in Columbus.
I used to go to Youngstown every summer for many years. Tough town.
Yes.
Let me get some background from you, ma'am.
Everything Ebony said is true. You know, she met my son, and they was dating, because we used to take him to, that's why I didn't give her no problem, because I knew it's a chance it might be his, because we used to take him to movies, me and my husband. We used to pick him up and take him to movies. I met her mother, and I met her father, you know, and I met him, and I asked him, though, about a month later, when Ebony came up pregnant, I asked my son, I said, Jovan, is that your baby? It better not be your baby, because he already got one. And I said, that better not be your baby. And he said, no, Mom, that's not my baby. I asked Ebony, I said, is that Jovan baby? And she also said that it wasn't his, it was the other guy. So I left it alone. So 2006, when my son got killed, what happened is, I'm gonna let you know what happened before you ask.
Please.
What happened is I was at work. I always worked 2 jobs. I was at work, and my 2 boys was at home, and I didn't even know they had a gun. Somehow, some way.
How old were they?
My oldest son was 21, and my youngest son was 17. And so I was at work, and so I don't know what really happened, but what I was told is that my youngest son tried to give the oldest son the gun, and then he tripped, and the gun went off, and it shot and killed my son.
How were you able to stay And
Oh, I got help.
yeah, good.
I seen a psychiatrist, and
Good.
so I took my son.
Grief counseling, good.
I took my son to get help too, but you know, it seemed like I lost 2 sons because you know I went to get my son help, but
Did he
things just
follow
got
up?
worse.
Did he follow up?
Yeah, he did.
He
but
did?
but he started hanging around with the wrong crowd, and then he ended up incarcerated because they didn't incarcerate him for what happened.
The accident.
Because it was an accident, but he ended up incarcerated because, you know, after what happened,
another street
he just
now.
couldn't take it no more. You know,
Yeah, no, that's understandable. You didn't, yeah, that's understandable. Well, we'll know for sure whether you have a grandchild here, right?
yes, because Ebony, you know, when my son Jamar called me, he said, Mom, I said, huh? Are you sitting down? I said, yeah, Jamar, what's wrong? Because I thought he had gotten in some more trouble. Yeah, Jamar, what's wrong? I thought he had got some more trouble. He said, I just got through talking to Ebony. She said that they had Frisco tested and it wasn't his baby. And she wanted to know if you be willing to take a DNA because she think it's maybe Javon's baby. And I said, yeah. So instantly I called Ebony the next day. He gave me her phone number and I called her and me and her talked. So, and I told her, you know, I never denied it because like I said, I know my son was there. And so I asked her to send me a picture of him. This is the first time I ever got to see him.
Oh, God, bye.
First time, and that's why I keep looking at him when he walked in. I keep looking at him. He looked just like my son.
Does he?
He looked exactly like my son. And so
That's
when she
cool.
told me that, she had a son. So I asked her, I said, Ebony, would you please send me a picture? She sent me a picture. So I sent the picture to my sister. Me and her, so I sent the picture to her. And so I called my sister on the phone. I said, Lena, who this look like? And she said, Javon, instantly. That's my son's name. She said, look just like Javon. I said, that's what I thought. So I text Ebony back and I said, Ebony, I said, we could get a DNA. I said, but I'm gonna tell you, that's my grandson.
Oh,
Yep.
beautiful. Beautiful.
Try to get a DNA through Youngstown and they wouldn't do it. We tried to go to Columbus, Ohio, they wouldn't do it. So
Well, I'm glad we were able to accommodate you and go and get the results for me. And of course, you're the grandmother.
thank you, guys. I told you. I knew you was my grandson. I knew it. I knew it. I knew you was my grandson. I knew it. I'm happy. I
Yes.
got another part of my son.
I'm very, very happy. It's closure.
I'm happy too.
We got a grandma. I'll get to know her.
Yes.
Love you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
All this time.
I know. Now you got to let me come and stay with me.
I know.
So we get to know me. Come at least since school's out, come and spend a week with me at least. So you could get to know your other brother. Boy, you look just like Javon. God. He look more like Javon than Javon's
And it's so
son.
crazy because I'm 30 now and I haven't seen Jovan since I was 15.
You looking
so I
at
don't
him.
know what he looked like.
That's him.
Wow.
He look just like Javon, don't he? When he walked in that door, I know you probably wonder why I kept turning around looking at you. You look just like my son. This is your aunt. That's one of your aunts. You got a whole bunch.
Yeah, because she's so quiet.
I got 10 brothers and sisters, so you got a whole bunch of
Oh, my
aunts
goodness.
and uncles you got to meet. Because they all know about you because I showed all of them the picture. All of them know. Because all of them said the same thing. All of them said that's your grandchild. Because he looked just like Javon.
I talked to Frisco today. He was like, I sent him a picture and he said the picture reminded him of Jamar. That's why he brought it to me, like, Ebony, you don't remember the situation with you and Jovan? I'm like, oh my goodness. I really
remember.
blacked that out.
Because I remember I asked you. You remember I asked you.